Hello and welcome to Life's Amazing, my DIY and home decor channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a lazy Susan, and it's using just a few simple materials. The star of this DIY is the lazy Susan bearing, and I'm just showing you the different types of lazy Susan bearings that I have on hand. I have a few acrylic ones and the traditional metal ones. So if you want to see me do a lazy Susan using one of the acrylic versions, let me know, because this would work if you have a clear tray. But for today's tutorial, we will be using the black metal lazy Susan that's 3.5 inches wide. So to get started, you need your cutting board or whatever surface you would be attaching the lazy Susan bearing to, a hammer, pencil, screwdriver, screws, and I forgot to take a picture, but you'd also need a ruler and a bigger screw. I'm also showing two options for adhering the lazy Susan to your surface when we're done. Okay, so to get started, you need to draw 2 lines down the center of your circle board. So one, and then you would make a perpendicular line so that we would create a cross that's at the center of the circle, and that way we'd be able to center our lazy Susan. So I'm just double checking to make sure that it is in the center, and I'm lining up each of the circles with the line that I've drawn, and I'm just drawing out the holes as guides for my screws later on. So this is the screw that I'll be using to just hammer in lightly some pilot holes so that the screws themselves will go in more easily. So just a few taps. If you don't have a hammer on hand, you can always use something heavy enough just to make an indentation into the surface so that it's easier to add your screw afterwards. I'm just double checking that it's lining up. I think I did one off center, so I'm just doing that over. But once you have all of your holes done up, then it's time to start putting in your screws. Okay, so that's basically it. Once your screws have been added, you're more or less ready to go. So now we're going to look at adhering it to our surface. And I'm just going to show you two options, as I had mentioned. So one option would be a more permanent one if you want your lazy Susan to remain in one particular position. You can use these command picture hanging strips, and you would just place 2 strips onto the open side of the lazy Susan bearing, and you add your additional 2 Velcro strips, and you can secure it to your surface. And you can remove it, pull it, detach the Velcro strips if you want to remove the board itself, but you would have the strips remaining on whatever surface. So I prefer to use something called glue tack, which is a kind of adhesive putty. So it holds it in place, but it also allows you to remove the entire thing, including the putty, and replace it wherever else you want to. So I kind of prefer that option so that I'm not wasting picture hanging strips every time I need to relocate the lazy Susan. So you just play with it a little bit to make it more pliable and soft, and then that's more or less it. You stick it onto your surface, just ensuring that it's adhering to it. So I'm just adding a couple more pieces to the other 2 ends of the lazy Susan, and give it a good hard push down onto the table, and you can see it's not going anywhere, and that is your Lazy Susan more or less done. Now coming up in the video, I'm going to show you how to add marble contact paper to your Lazy Susan if you wanted to decorate it a bit. Now you'd be doing this step before you actually put on the Lazy Susan bearing. So we have the marble contact paper. For this you need an X-acto knife or craft knife, marble paper of your choice. For this one I'm using a matte gold and grey finish marble paper, and my cutting mat. It's always easy to cut things like this on the cutting mat so that you don't have to be afraid of cutting into your surface. So I'm just cutting out, I didn't draw anything before, I'm doing a direct cut using the knife, cutting out the shape of the circle, the cutting board, onto the marble contact paper. And for those interested, the desk I'm using is also a marble contact paper covered desk that I did some time ago. I can link both marble contact papers in the description box, so you can check them out if you're interested. So once you have your circle drawn, it's pretty simple and easy. I am just double checking that it's the exact size of the paper. Now when you're applying marble contact paper, or any kind of contact paper actually, you want to peel back just a small section of the paper and secure it to your surface. Make sure that you stick down that small portion first before continuing, and it's always useful to have a type of card on hand. So I just have an old card that I'm using, and I'm slowly peeling back the under paper to get the adhesive part out while I'm going over the surface with the card to ensure that I am smoothing it out as I go along to prevent any bubbles. Now it's super easy on a small surface like this. I know it's not as simple when you're using a larger surface, but if you want to get started with contact paper, this is a good project to start with, because then you don't feel frustrated when you get tons of bubbles. And there you have your marble Lazy Susan decorated and ready to be styled. So I'm just showing a couple of examples. For this one, you can use it to store your stationery, and this is actually how I use one of my Lazy Susans to store stationery in a deep shelf. So it allows me to get to the items at the back without having to move any of the containers to do so. And there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any other ideas for tutorials that you would like to see, let me know in the comments,